Good morning and welcome to The Point. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20, and good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9. This morning our virtual guest is acting political leader of the National Democratic Congress, Adrian Thomas, and of course he's here to talk things of national importance. Morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning, Blossom, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. A pleasant good morning to all your audience in Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and the diaspora, my friends and family in North America, Europe, and the whole world.
Happy to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We have quite a few things to talk about, quite a few things happening, and let's start with our public officers and teachers. The 4%, right now the unions are battling, I call it a battle, to get the 4% increase that was agreed upon in the last agreement with the government. Government is saying, we are broke. We can't pay that money right now. What are the NDC's thoughts, your thoughts on the current situation, and what advice can you offer to both parties that we can come to an amicable solution at the soonest?
Blossom, I mean, this is a very important issue, and it's a reflection of how things are headed, the direction that things are heading in this country. The National Democratic Congress stands unwaveringly in solidarity with the workers of this country. Many of us in the Congress, and even the birth of the Congress came out of workers' dispute in 1987, when the Honorable Herbert Bliss wanted to retrench workers. Many of his ministers thought that this was not the right thing to do, and therefore he should have some leniency with the workers, and they decided to step out. So the National Democratic Congress is very sensitive to issues of that nature. We have expressed that in our statement, and we stand by it, and we are calling on the government to really and truly come forward and have some serious dialogue with the workers and see how this matter can be resolved. We have to consider also that in this time in this COVIDious time, so to speak, many of these workers have made tremendous sacrifices in terms of having us where we are in regards to our status as far as COVID is concerned. And therefore, now is not the appropriate time for this conflict, which is heading towards a crisis, because when you look at the line of march that the leadership of the union has given to the workers, it's quite likely that we're going to have a bigger confrontation that many of us wish for, and really and truly the country may not be able to handle at this point in time. So we have to respect the nurses, the doctors, the policemen, all those, especially the frontline workers. We have to remember also that this 4% is not a voluntary 4% that the government offered the workers. So when the government called for the workers to forego the 4%, and later on when the workers resisted that, the government called for it to be deferred, the government is not making the right move at all. This is a 4% that the workers have negotiated for. This is a 4% that the workers went to the government to and fro. They took industrial action for that 4%. And at the end of the day, they settled for not what they wanted, but what the government said that they could have afforded. In other words, they go along with the government. Today, you are asking these workers to forego the 4% or defer the 4%, and the workers are resisting you. So it means that the government, serious talks have broken down, and the government need to get in line again and engage the workers in some serious dialogue. The public workers, the workers in TAO, GOT, and even the pensioners, because the pensioners have something to get in that also. And we must not forget these people who have worked so hard, and as a matter of fact, many of them, their status in life has been reduced after they left the government service, because they're in a lesser position in regards to their own taking care of themselves and the dependencies. So we call on the government to show a little more respect and a little dignity for these workers. As a matter of fact, though, it's sad because this administration, they really has not. I mean, you cannot give them much credit for handling situations like that. It always have to be in some confrontation, some dispute, and I think the government need to check up on itself and realize that the workers are very important. And as a matter of fact, I can stand here and say the workers are more important than the government, even though it's a very important arm of our development. But a government go, government come. Workers are there, and they are the ones when the government break down and they hold the country until we get things in motion. In 1983, the system was able to, after the invasion, the system was able to carry itself until the interim government was put in place, and that shows the importance of workers in this country. And therefore, you have to be very, very careful in terms of how we treat people. This 4% again, it's as I said, it was properly negotiated for, and taking a unilateral decision would not be in the best interest of the workers, and it would not be in the best interest of the country, and the government need to look at that again. I had a look at some of the figures, and people, the increases will give some people less than $50 per month, and if you calculate that in days, it means $1.00 per day. So I mean, we have people who might be getting a little more based on the position in the service, but we have to take into consideration the bulk of Grenadians are really and truly working for very little. And we are, I mean, maybe we surpass Haiti in the region, but many of the Caribbean islands are working for much more money than the public servants in Grenada. So we have to do something about that. And I want to urge the government to adopt the NDC principle, put people first, let good sense prevail. We cannot afford to take any crisis now and put on top of the pandemic that we are experiencing now. This pandemic has us, I mean, it has Grenadians, business people in a quandary, and people are not being able to breathe and to engage public workers, TAU, GOT pension workers in this kind of confrontation. It comes across a little irresponsible, and the government has to show that they have they can manage these situations like that and resolve it in an amicable manner and have the country running smoothly. Another point I want to raise here again though is the whole question of a lot of people because of the COVID situation, have lost their jobs. I really want to sympathize with these people. Some people have experienced a cut in salary. Some people are experiencing maybe making 2 days per week. That in itself, you can imagine because if you have a permanent job, you plan your livelihood. You plan what you put in for mortgage, what you put in your vehicle, what you put in, what is contributing for your children, and really and truly, when your salary has been cut significantly, it becomes difficult. And some of these workers who have experienced in those situations, we have to be very sympathetic and empathize with them. And I want to raise the point here also that a lot of public servants, even it's not about themselves, but other people depend on them. And if the public servants is being cut, the rippling effect could be very detrimental to the country. And we have to think outside the box and see how we can rectify this situation. The $25 billion that we got in regards to COVID, I think government need to see how they can use that to get people out of this situation, relieve people, and the country, bring about some form of relief in the country. And if that $25 million can be used wisely, and without showing any partisan politics in it, I think that might be able to help. But the government is in that situation where the public workers need to be resolved as soon as possible.
Government is saying they can't afford to pay that money now. It may look like you pointed out, some people are getting just a $50 increase, but those $50 add up. And it's in the millions when you sum it up, and they're saying we just don't have it at this time.
Yeah, but Blossy, I mean, I don't want to repeat anything because a gentleman said to me, well, when the 63 million US was found to pay for Great Lake, this is equivalent to, and I don't want to sound as if I'm blaspheming the gospel here, but it sounds like Jesus Christ sharing 5 loaves and 2 fishes and 2 loaves and 5 fishes, or 2 fishes and 5 loaves for a lot of people, and they got fed because that is what he's saying. So, in a nutshell, if you could find in the dark of the night 63 million US, it will be hard for the government to tell the public servant that they cannot find that money. And I think public workers are very, very reasonable people. They are very lenient. And over the years, I've been in the trade union. I've sat on the public workers union negotiating team. I've sat with government negotiators to negotiate. And public workers are very, very lenient. So what the government have to do is the union was willing to take a plan and to put it off for a little while and with a little interest and all those bits and pieces. So government have to find ways and means of dealing with the issue. They have to remember, as I said before, it's not a voluntary offer. This is a hard negotiated deal, and both parties signed to it, and therefore government is they're in the driver's seat, and they have to, just like how they find the money for Great Lake, they will have to find that little bit to settle the matter. Because if you don't settle it, it means, Blossom, it can cost the country much more. Grenada cannot take 5 weeks or 4 weeks. I remember in the Blaze days when the public workers strike. What it did to the economy was much more than what the workers were fighting for, and therefore government have to let good sense prevail. They have good economic advisors in the Ministry of Finance. They have the Minister of Finance, who has been in government for a lot of years. The Prime Minister he knows public workers. He has been in and out of government. He has been associated with workers. He has the President of the Senate, who is maybe the boss trade unionist in Grenada, so he should be able to advise him accordingly and let good sense prevail and settle the matter.
How would the NDC have handled a situation like this? Let's say the NDC was in power, the judgment came down, you had to pay WRB for the Grand Lake shares, and then also pay. I know you're going to tell me that won't happen on this. Let's just say that it happened, and you have to pay public officers end of January. How would the NDC maneuver a situation like that?
I'm going to tell you one thing. NDC government will not end up in this kind of problem because we believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. And we believe in establishing good relationship with the workers. This is a workers' party in the National Democratic Congress. This is where it was born, as I said before. So in a situation like that, the first thing we have to do, if your government realizes that it cannot meet its demands, is to engage the workers. And government and the workers must come up with a plan in terms of how we make this thing possible. As I said to the workers, I respect the workers in Grenada. They are very reasonable people, and it's not about sitting down in cabinet and coming up with a decision, and then having your press conference or your cabinet briefing and announcing what the government plan to do. It doesn't work like that. This is a two-party business affairs, and we could in a tripartite system where you have somebody that could mediate the process. We can sit down, dialogue, come to an agreement, and move forward. And that is how business has been done in terms of good governance of a country. It's not about the government sitting down and having dinner with the colleagues and thinking about what is best for the country, or they lie down in the bed and they dream about it, and then they come and implement. It's all about dialogue.
Another issue that has arisen since yesterday, since the start of the week, in relation to increase in prices for chicken feed and poultry products, was it? I remember the chicken feed part. And as a farmer, what are the concerns that you may have with this situation? We have farmers crying out. Members of the public will soon start to feel the effects. As of tomorrow, please, a lot actually.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on how this situation or what it would mean for us in Grenada?
Blossom, when this letter was brought to my attention yesterday, I was wow. It's really, I mean, people might not look at it if you don't look at it in depth, you might lose where it really going, because what this letter is saying, that there will be a significant increases in prices, not only animal feed but flour, which is a basic ingredient for many households. I don't know any particular household ingredient that don't consume flour. Some senior citizens may prefer not to consume flour, but go with ground provisions and so on. But every household ingredient need that ingredient. The poultry farmers will be seriously affected. They have been crying out for years of the cost of feed, and to bring a 6% on that, they're going to be crying out again. Pork production, feed will be going up to 12%. 12%. That in itself means that the barbecue will be going up. Consumers will be paying more for a pound of pork. And you have other feeds, things like rabbit feed and small ruminants like sheep and goats. Those animal feed will be going up by about 16%. This is a significant increase in costs, and agro industry is saying that this is necessary because of the increase in costs on the international market. A lot of the grains are now going down to China, and which means that the demand has increased. And it was said that because China had some swine flu and problem, they had to get rid of all the pigs and so on. So they're now trying to build back the stock, and they are buying a lot of feed. And obviously, when demand increases, you find those things happening. And the obvious thing that a lot of businessmen tend to do is to pass the increasing cost on to the consumer. This situation, together with the COVID situation in Grenada, we cannot not link both of them together, because this is going to be going on top of the pandemic situation. And therefore, I want to ask this government to really and truly engage Caribbean Agro Industry Limited and see how we can mitigate this crisis that will be coming here. People, sometimes you don't get the impact instantly, but I can tell you the bread will be going up, because the bakery will not buy the flour for more money and then sell it at the same price. So people can expect that to rise also. And the rippling effect is that a lot of business, some of the business places, the poultry farms, if the guys cannot afford to buy the feed from outside of Grenada and bring in their own feed, it means that they might be closing their farms. And when you close your farm, you're out of business. You have you have employees who will be affected, and they might have to go home. More crisis in this country. There has always been a call for alternatives to flour. People have been talking about cassava flour, breakfast flour, plantain flour. All those things have the same impact that the flour will create in terms of providing carbohydrates. This, I think, is an option that Grenadians will have to do some research on in terms of going forward. And there comes the call, Blossom, the importance of agriculture in our sector. A simple thing like the grains and the market. Grains we don't produce, we don't cultivate. What happens in the international market? In other words, they catch the cold, and we are the ones sneezing in Grenada, and it shows how important it is that we have to do some serious consideration in terms of giving agriculture the kind of priority that it needs to, so that when these things happen, we don't have to worry, because we have the dasheen, the breadfruit, the banana in abundance, and we have to do the kind of research that we can convert these things into making bread and all the necessary other products we make from flour, because flour is widely used. It's not only for bread, but cakes, biscuits, whatever. Wheat is a widely used ingredient, and therefore a lot of restaurants will be affected. The Pizza Huts will be affected. The Rick's Cafe, because they use a lot of flour as a base product. and therefore Grenadians have to come tomorrow morning. This will be a shot in the arm again. Another crisis on top of the COVID that will be hitting our country. This is serious business, and I really and truly want to re-emphasize again the importance of government engaging in the agro-industry, negotiating with them to see how we can mitigate this crisis and see how we can help the Grenadian people rather than putting them under more pressure. On that basis, it's quite likely that the poverty line will increase again.
Is there an alternative that we can explore dealing with the increase in prices at Caribbean Agro, the customers as well as farmers?
Well, I know the farmers have been clamoring with the government to give them the permission to bring in feed from other countries where they can get it cheaper. But again, we have to be mindful that if this is if the prices are increasing in the international market, it's quite likely. But still, the prices in Grenada is much higher than other Caribbean islands, and what the government will have to maybe consider, although there is a policy in Grenada that agro-industry has this monopoly on those products, and there's an agreement that maybe sometime in the 70s it was signed and it's still reign supreme in Grenada in terms of this company has the monopoly in those products, and I really don't know how. That's why I said to you that the government has to engage the company. You don't want to create another confrontation again. You want to see how you can sort out these things in an amicable way, where the consumers would not feel the full impact, and the company will feel little. But as the letter said, also that the company will try to pass on some of the increase in prices to the consumer. So I guess they will be taking some of it also. But the government have a serious role to play in the middle there between the consumer and the manufacturer, and see how we can sort out this problem. It's all about dialogue again. That's awesome.
All right, let's take a break, Mr. Thomas, and then we're going to come back and continue the discussion. This is To The Point Classic and GBN. We'll be right back.
Now we can stay safe while at the same time reducing our budget to maintain a clean and safe environment at our home, school, office, church, or even on the bus. Fortune Foods has gone a long way to source premium products that are at least 30 to 50% less than other brands. That's right, 30 to 50% cheaper than other brands. We have a multi-purpose 80% strength liquid sanitizer for cleaning surfaces that is also safe on hands, as well as 70 to 75% gel sanitizers available in 1 gallon and smaller sizes. Plus, when you buy in bulk, you save even more. Right now, every dollar counts. Be wise. Sanitize with Fortune Foods' range of sanitizing products.
Distributed by Fortune Foods Company Limited, Tempe, St. George's. Telephone 435-2247.
Calypso fans, the 9 finalists to challenge the reigning Independence Calypso Monarch, Sean Nas, the Sour Serpent, on Friday, February 5th at the National Stadium have been selected. Admission is free from the comfort of your homes. Will Sour Serpent hold on to the reign, or will the crown change heads as Sheldon Douglas, Anthony Darius, Croqueta, Jermaine Simon, Teddy Christopher, Philanda Jeffrey, Alicia Alexis, Edison Francis, and Anthony Etienne all vie for the coveted crown. Time alone will tell, so join the National Celebrations Committee in what promises to be an evening of great calypsos. Carried live on GIS Channel 22, the National Celebrations Committee, and GIS Facebook pages and YouTube channels. Remember the date, Friday, February 5th, 6 p.m. The virtual staging of the 2021 Independence Calypso Monarch, building together a safer, more resilient nation in these challenging times.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live. Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11, K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Stomp out careless or intentional bushfires, dead out. Youths, hunters, smokers, let's prevent bushfires. Here's why.
Yeah, bushfires. The shoreline's wet, crops should be bushfires. Can lead to food scarcity, threatened biodiversity, cause water shortage, water calamity. Bushfires in watersheds deplete water quality, threaten property, life and security. Bushfires set intentionally, water insanity.
Bushfires can cost millions in losses annually and are often caused by careless or intentional actions indictable under the law. Forests are life-giving. Save them. A message from the Fire Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Caribbean Open Trade Support.
Welcome back to The Point, speaking with acting political leader of the National Democratic Congress, Adrian Thomas. Mr. Thomas, it is the 2nd of February. Grenada is celebrating its 140... not 100. It's 40. I was thinking about my alma mater. It's 47th year as an independent nation. It will be a celebration with a difference. The NDC and its thoughts on how we will be celebrating year 47.
Well, first of all, let me congratulate the Grenadians home and abroad for celebrating 47 years of independence. Some people will argue that it's really and truly political independence, and but the world maybe have political independence, but we all are interrelated, and there is some level of interdependency on the global village for our own survival. But to have raised your flag and to have your own constitution for at this point in 47 years, it's a plus, and we are I think we as a nation we must be proud of that. Even though it came some maybe 140 years after emancipation, but we are traveling on that road, and we are all going there together. The celebration Blossom, really and truly, we have a lot to celebrate, and we also have a lot to wish for. I don't know the details of what the government has planned to do at this point in time, but one of the things I want to raise in regards to that is how from 74 to now, Grenadians are arguing that many years we were much better off in regards to our position economically, and where we had agriculture as the main pillar of the economy, and we were striving in terms of being one of the better islands of the Windward Islands and maybe the OECS in terms of development. What we are experiencing here now, that main pillar which we were depending on agriculture is no longer the main pillar in Grenada, and it has been given way to, some people call it globalization, whereby it's different pillars that carry your economy. In Grenada, we have the sale of passports as one of the foreign honors. We have people are going towards this offshore banking. People are getting involved in this real estate business, and really and truly, a lot of them come with some shady deals. And as a nation, sometimes you do not know. A lot of them, those deals have been made in secrecy, and we don't. That level of transparency and accountability is not recognized. And some people are involved in even selling our patrimony. So all these things we have retrogressed in that sense, even though we have some level of political independence. But those people are going for a quick fix, not really concentrating on sustainability, so that when crises like the COVID comes to our show, we have problems, because a lot of these service industries will crumble and put on hold or put on pause, and our country is at a standstill. Again, as a nation, prior to independence, we had serious problems with unemployment, we had problems with health, we had problems with education. And it will be remiss of me if I do not mention that today, the problem of unemployment is maybe worse than yesterday. The whole problem of our health service is frightening, and Grenadians should not, in this modern day and age, Grenadians should not be panicking and being frightened to go to the general hospital. This is a place when you go there, you should feel relief. You should feel that you're going there to come out better. But people are panicking, and it's not a good sense at all. We have to fix that as a nation. I'm not pelting stone at anybody per se, but as a nation, the health of your nation, the people, your human resource, most important than anything else. If you don't master the art of taking care of your people, then I don't know how you're going to go forward, because everything depends on the people. Your education system. I'm shocked that so many teachers in the system are temporary. So in other words, they're not certain what the future will be. They cannot plan. They cannot, as a important aspect of our country, the teaching profession. If these are the people who create you and I blossom. These are the people who make us into what we are. The teaching is, if we had a nation that could not read and write, you know what this nation would lead to? We have a nation that do not have any skills, and they cannot help themselves. They are unemployable. This will be a terrible situation in Grenada, and therefore the teaching profession, the education system has to be revamped and make sure that if we talk about independence, we have to make sure that this is well taken care of. Academic performances is not all these days. We have to improve in terms of our skills. The ordinary mechanic cannot, or the man that fixes the tire and change the tire cannot be in fixing tire for 30 years. He must aspire to be a mechanic, be the manager of the mechanic shop. And therefore, serious training and revamping the education system has to be taken into consideration. So in all this coming after 47 years, there is a demand for fresh ideas. There is a demand for that level of inclusiveness in regards to how we govern our country. As an independent nation, it's not only independence for the government, but the people must get a sense of belonging. The present administration, what we term in the National Democratic Congress, incestuous behavior of this government. It's all about themselves and the close associates. We cannot ignore the NGOs in this developmental process. We cannot ignore the teachers, the public servants, the policemen. They all have a part to play, because at the end of the day, we all contribute, and that is what independence should really mean. All hands on deck is the call of the National Democratic Congress. And I'm not only talking about Grenadians here, but we have to tap the resources that we have outside of Grenada, in Europe, in North America, Africa, wherever the Grenadians are, and they can contribute. We must look for them and make sure that they contribute in developing our country. In our 50th anniversary, we must be seen in a different light, because a lot of people who were there before said 1974 and they are still living, they will say that they had more glorious days than today, and that should not be the case. We should be climbing to higher heights. And the young people, today's world, it's a world that really and truly is designed in a way that young people can function. And therefore, they must be placed in the right position that will encourage them to function, get them to function, and let them feel like they are part and parcel, because they're living in this world, but the future belongs to them. We will be long gone, and they have a role to play. So give them the hands-on approach now, rather than when it's too late or when the country is down the road. We have to engage the young people and make sure that they feel part and parcel of this 47 years of our nation. I want to raise a point that Ali Gill wrote about a couple of weeks ago in regards to how we treat our national heroes. I personally believe that it's time for we change the names of some of the streets in St. George's. It's time for we to change some of the playing fields. It's time for we to change the name of the prison. It's time for Grenadians to feel like Grenadians want to feel. And those things, again, we can sit down as a nation, dialogue, and come up with some sense that will bring a level of patriotism and national pride as a Grenadian nation. So the time, 47 years, it's not too late to start talking that language, and we have to the earlier we get into it is much better for us. And the final thing on the independence issue, Blossom, is the whole question of the Calypsonians. I want to congratulate all the Calypsonians who is in the final, and I will be looking forward to that show on Friday. I will be sitting and taking them in. I'm on sabbatical leave in regards to Calypso, and I will be happy to sit and take in Teacher Eddie and so support and all the other guys who are participating in that competition. I want to congratulate them again.
Do you think you'll ever return to Calypso?
Well, if need be, you never know.
Just curious, as you said that it just jogged.
I love Calypso. You will still see me lie down in my bed in the night and go back to some old YouTube or some Calypso tent in Grenada, Trinidad, Antigua, still looking at Calypso. So I still have a love for it, Blossom. It's part of our culture, and it's a very rich culture. My sympathy goes out to singing Sandra in Trinidad to our friends and family. I think the Caribbean has lost a great woman, a great Calypsonian, and her music will surely live on forever. She has done some fantastic hits. It's a lesson. Some of them are used as lessons in schools. So Calypso is a rich culture, and I'm happy to have spent 20 years in it. But I'm looking on the outside, and it still has a place in my heart.
Okay, just curious. At this point in the program, we're going to invite our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns for Mr. Thomas. This is your opportunity to ask them. Landline number 435-2041. That's also the WhatsApp number. Please, only written messages on WhatsApp. You can also post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on the GBN Television Facebook page, GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, and the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom.
Morning.
One question, well, not comments I want to make to your clients. And I'm 100% against the contract workers, 100% against the contract workers. But remember, NDC was there in 2008, and they had contract workers at that time. How many of them did they make permanent? Because I heard on the TV this week, the president of the Public Workers Union said that there's people up to 30 years, 25 years in contract working. I mean, why didn't the NDC did something about that? They was there for 4 years, 5 years, 2008, 2013. How many of them did they make full-time workers? Could Mr. Posela, tell us something about that, please?
Okay, thank you so much. Sir Thomas?
Well, contract workers going to always be there because we have contract workers. We have contract work to do. And I always like to make the reference to, if you have a bridge to build, it cannot be anything. It cannot be a permanent job. It's a contract job until the bridge. If the bridge going to take 6 months, that's the end of the contract, and we don't expect people to continue coming there and sitting and have nothing to do. If you're building a house, it's the same principle that has been applied. The NDC principle and policy is in going forward is that you cannot have. Are you hearing me, Blossom?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Our policy is that you cannot have routine jobs. You cannot have a doctor working in a hospital or a nurse working in a medical station and a contract job when this is a routine job. So you give her annual contract year after year, year after year, and she's there for 20 years, 25 years with a contract in her hand, where she cannot get any benefits, because to get the benefits, you have to make 10 years. So she'd never make 10 years. In other words, if that individual is pregnant, she would not be able to get maternity leave because she never make it. You must make 18 months on the job before you could conceive. And therefore, if you're getting a contract for 12 months, you will never reach there. And this is unfair. We believe that contract work has its place, and it cannot be to the whims and fancy of the politician just because they want to hold some of the workers like a puppet on a string. So you know the contract going to end in 1 year's time, and you have to be sitting and making sure that you don't do anything that will not get your contract renewed. You cannot have people working in this state of affairs where people are living in fear. And that is the policy of the administration. So even though the NDC was in government and you knew of people who were in contract, some professionals also, they don't want to be tied on any particular job. A man come to be a consultant to you. Obviously, he might favor a contract. So it's not, if a doctor want to work, give you his service for the next 5 years and he opt for a contract in the general hospital, then fine. It means that that is his option. But you do not want to have a general practitioner in the hospital or in the medical station where doctors are needed and he wants to be there permanently. I don't see why you want to have him there working in a temporary position. The teaching profession, why do you want to take a 20-year-old who just finished university, want to make teaching his profession? Teaching has always been there, and it will always be there. So a job of that nature will empower that individual, and that worker deserves to have a permanent job. And therefore, it is a bit unfair and reckless on the part of the administration not to regularize many of these workers. So again, contract work has its place, and permanent jobs have its place. To empower your society, people must have that level of sustenance, and if we don't do that, we'll have a nation that really and truly cannot make the kind of progress that many of us in the past have made. I said on this program before, by the time I was 20 years blossom, I was already taking my letter to the bank to secure a loan so that I can put a little fridge in my house and a little stove in my house. And that is how you make progress in as an individual. If I have a contract job for a year or two, no bank can watching me, no financial institution looking at me. They're not even considering me, because really and truly, I cannot go and ask the bank for $40,000 with a contract for 2 years to buy a vehicle. They wouldn't study me. If you've got a permanent job and at least you are empowered, you have been secured, and your society, you as an individual will grow, your society will grow, and the country will benefit much more. That is how the NDC look at it.
Somebody on the YouTube channel is asking, what leverage do you think teachers have in its current impasse for the 4% increase?
Well, I'm taking the cue from the teachers. They are the one in the kitchen, and they are the one feeling the heat. I looked at the lineup match, and I think they are going for the hog. The teachers, they want the money. The government will be sensible enough to engage them before this crisis get out of hand. I don't know what leverage do they have per se, because I'm not within the leadership of the unions. But from what I'm seeing on the outside, I think they are serious about this matter.
There are two questions on the... No, let me take the phone call, and then I'll get to the WhatsApp questions. Good morning, caller.
Pleasant good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. Could I just extend my condolences before I make my point?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I just want to extend my condolences to the entire staff of GBN, and also to Brother Posweda and the passing of his grandfather. Brother Posweda, good morning.
Morning.
Somebody that tell me was you on, that I put it on. I didn't have time at the beginning, but what I pick up so far is that certain things you would like to see take place, or certain things you would like to see happen. But I want to encourage you all to come on board. Stop walking on top, hold up on top, and come on the ground. Let us meet with the youths, find the youths and other people in different community and villages, and let us walk and let us start from there. So at the end of the day, thing will be better for you, the party, and for we as Grenadians. So I would like you all, to hold up on certain things and let me walk back in the bottom, because you must start with a foundation before you reach on top there. This is my contribution. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your condolences.
Thank you very much for your advice.
In relation, WhatsApp. There are two questions on the WhatsApp related to the leadership of the party. One person is asking, is the NDC considering Mr. Terry Forrester as leader of the party? And another person is asking, is Leo Cato to be the NDC new leader?
Well, Blossom, there is no indication from any of the individuals there as far as the party is concerned of their interest to vie for the leadership, for the leader of the party convention. I am the acting political leader since Sister Franca resigned. I'll be holding that position until the general convention. And at the general convention, every single office in the party will be up for grab. People will be free to contest. In the National Democratic Congress, we have that level of democracy where people are free to campaign. They are free to come in the morning and nominate anybody they wish for. But the two names that you call there, I have no information in regards to they indicating that they are interested. What I saw in the papers in regards to Mr. Leo Cato, I don't think it's a direct piece that came from him, but if he's interested, he's free. And Terry Forrester is interested. Terry is a full-fledged member of the National Democratic Congress, so we don't handpick people in the National Democratic Congress.
A question on Facebook. Comment question. What is the benefit of the poor class of people? What benefit the poor class of people got for 47 years of independence? No pension, no health insurance. We keep building foreigners, going to parliament, putting Grenadians. Where is the benefit for the poor man? What benefits the poor man has gotten over the last 47 years of independence?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want to pick out any individual groups per se, but as a nation, as I made the point earlier on, the 47 years Grenadians who lived before 1974 and are still here with us, they have different views in terms of the direction that we are going. But as a nation, we have achieved quite a bit. There's a lot of room for improvement. There are a lot of things that a lot of us didn't have privilege to do in the past, and we know free. We have the option to educate ourselves. Nobody determining what skill we should learn, whether we want to work in a bank or we want to go in the police force. Whatever we want to do as a people, we can do. We just have to make sure that we have the kind of leadership that will think about country, that will think about building, about nation building, that will think about advancing the people and empowering the people. And whatever achievement that we may have achieved in the past, we still have a lot more to achieve. And I really hope and pray that we'll get the right people. And the National Democratic Congress is willing and able, and we are presenting ourselves to help in that process in terms of going forward.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom, and morning to Adrian.
Morning.
I have quite a few things to say, but before I say what I have to say, I want to raise an issue that I have not heard discussed in Grenada, especially since COVID, which is been addressed in Barbados. The issue of hazard payment in the light of COVID. We talk about, we big up our frontline workers and so on, but we have given them no incentive to really continue because this is a very stressful, very difficult task for them to do. And I'm talking about people like nurses and so on in Barbados. The government, although they are on an IMF program, they were able to secure funds to ensure that there's a constant batch of workers, whether doctors and nurses, and they give them on top of their pay, they give them hazard pay. I know that because I have a friend who has a daughter who's a nurse in Barbados, and we have not even begun to think about that here now. Hope that maybe Adrian as one of the leaders of that might be able to help influence that. No, my substantive point is like we talk a lot about economy, without realizing that the economy is just a servant of the society and also within the whole ecology. And I'm afraid that even as we talk about ensuring that people's survival and so on, that we are undermining the ecology. For instance, there are some parts in the island, as people respond to the challenges of being unemployed, they are cutting areas, cutting down trees. Unlike Barbados, who just before COVID came on, under its leader, Mia Motley, was on a drive to plant at least 1 million trees. We are cutting down the trees here in the name of tourism, in the name of cash crop and so on. I'm saying these are things that we need to be mindful of and really try to minimize. The other thing about it is that Mr. Thomas talked about the whole need for inclusion, but I think we need to go beyond inclusion. What we need is a spirit of solidarity in Grenada. To me, when I look out and I look on a daily basis, what I see is only the seeds. We have fractured people, and people are fighting on their own or fighting each other and so on, and we need to find a way to inspire our people. And I said it before COVID came here, just before it came, we need to help our people to understand that we are in a boat and the boat might sink.
Okay.
And otherwise, and as I say again, that we are witnessing our own funeral, and I don't think people at large, by and large, understand this. The things are changing every day. And I'm not talking about if you listen to CNN, but concretely, things are changing, and I'm not too sure we as a nation are living up to it.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, caller. Sir Thomas?
Blossom, I think you raised a very crucial point, the whole question of people cutting down trees indiscriminately and so on. I just want to remind people that our vision is to have a green, equitable, and prosperous Grenada for all, and we will that is the vision of this party. So a lot of emphasis will be placed on having sustainable development. And I just want to mention here also quickly the whole question of there's a policy document 2020 up to 2035 that was developed by a lot of the NGOs, and we were part and parcel of it. And that document is a document that many Grenadians should maybe acquaint themselves with and try to hold the government in check, because a lot of things inside there that the government pledged to practice, they are not practicing at this point in time. So it's a document that people must acquaint themselves with and get accustomed to and see. Maybe press the government to move focus on that aspect of it, because it came from the people. And that is the whole question of inclusiveness, the kind of inclusiveness that we are talking about, genuine inclusiveness.
Let me get one final comment from the WhatsApp. Somebody on WhatsApp is asking, what is needed is a review of the public service and the teaching service to see exactly what is really a realistic number of workers that is needed now. There is no vacant position in the service, and this is creating a problem. If this continues, then contract would never stop. Agree or disagree?
Well, this is a policy of this administration. They really believe in contract workers, and I said to you, this is one way of tying workers, they create this avenue that they are doing when they employ somebody. They create some favor to you, and then if you don't go along, then they will get rid of you, and that is the advantage, and it creates that sense of not being independent in your thinking. You cannot afford to be professional as you should and perform your job without fear and favor. And I really hope that the trade unions will sit down and talk with the government about giving people sustainable jobs and not just temporary jobs that really and truly is more political than anything else. We have to stop that as a nation. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am. Just final thoughts as we wrap up the program.
The video seems to be giving.
Yeah, the video is sticking, but we can hear you.
Well, Blossom, I should have really and truly expressed my sympathy to the GBN staff and the passing of my good friend, my comrade, my brother Levi. It's such a sad thing. I really and truly wish his family all the best. his family and friends. I know he has two families, his home family and his GBN family. I wish you all the best, and I sympathize with all. Again, I am in solidarity with the workers of this country, and I wish all Grenadians, home and abroad, the best for Independence 2021. Thank you very much, Blossom.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. Have a good day. Continue to be COVID-19 smart. Tell Cousin Deanna I said good morning.
Surely, thank you very much, and all the best.
All right, have a good day. Acting political leader of the National Democratic Congress, Adrian Thomas. Many of you may know him as Persuader. We thank him for being our guest this morning, and thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point. Always appreciate your time, your listenership, and your viewership. Thank you so much. It's the end of my time with you for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, God willing. Joseph is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. Continue to have yourselves a safe, productive Tuesday. Continue to be COVID-19 smart and enjoy. Have a good one.